Oh man, so both ALGORAND and COTI are showing real signs of strength at key support levels, and I'm going to share with you not only the technical price targets, but also some broader fundamental price targets I have for where both these projects could be heading. So let's head into the charts. Now, as you can see on the daily time frame, which is what I'm showing you now for COTI, what you can see is we formed our cup and handle pattern. Okay, so we created our cup, our handle, we broke out to the upside, and we got rejected, like I've told you many times, at the 66 cents level, right? And this was the story of what happened. A lot of people have only been buying COTI since 29th of September, it seems, because everybody's super frustrated by this sideways action. And like I've said from the beginning, this is merely a blip, a consolidation, a retracement, whatever you want to call it, before this COTI project heads higher. I mean, you can see if you were buying here, I understand if you're frustrated at the bottom of a cup, right? This is a long period of time to be frustrated. But when you've just had a move there, two move there, and retracement back on a perfect pattern where it's retesting the cup, the neckline of the cup and handle pattern, this is still a bullish setup. And however you want to look at it, even if you take out the EMA ribbon, we've not flipped bearish, right? We've not even got to the bottom two lines of your EMA ribbon. So this is still looking very bullish for COTI. So that being said, let's remind ourselves, what was our price target from this cup and handle pattern? Well, to break the handle pattern, we had a price target of 57. We met that, okay, which got you to the highs from here. We then had a wider target from the cup and handle of 80 cents, and we got well on our way. We got to 66 cents and we got rejected, right? But that target still remains if we can get a retest from this neckline. So let's head into the 4-hourly chart, because recently it was getting a bit precarious. The neckline is sitting there at the 49 cents mark. We did fall slightly below that. Now you remember what I showed you. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit better there. You remember I said if we break out of this wedge to the downside, your next target to the downside is the bottom of this wedge, okay? This white line which is drawn, the bottom of the wedge. And that's exactly where we're getting support now. So you can see the candles are wicking, the balls are coming in, and they're protecting the bottom of this wedge. Now, naturally, if we lose the bottom of this wedge, we could be coming down to 43 cents, or we could even be coming down to test the top of this cup and handle pattern. I know it looks like a big drop from there, but if you're coming out, you're coming back to test the top of this wedge before getting a bounce up. I suspect we'll either get a reversal here or at the least at 44, 43, but just so you're aware of it, on the downside, you could get it here on the top of the cup. The handle from the cup and handle. Okay, so that's our targets there. Now, if I switch over to the hourly, you will see what we've managed to do, which is we broke down to the downside and we tried to fight here at this point. We couldn't. We flashed down and we ended up coming to the bottom of the wedge. We hit it once, we've hit it twice, and now we're trying to consolidate here to head back higher into our buy zone box. So for me, COTI's really got to build some strength now and head higher. Its first target is to get back to the top of the wedge and then head higher to 56 cents. I think if you look at it, the RSI's really cooled off. You've really got low volumes on COTI right now. And I think if I take this, you can see that volumes really have declined over time, okay? You can see we've had a massive reduction in volume, and that is due to this, which is your Bitcoin dominance. The Bitcoin dominance has been on an absolute tear, guys, and I've made people aware of this for a long time. If you're gonna hold altcoins right now, you've got to be ready for some pain. You've got to be ready for sideways action, if not downside action, when Bitcoin falls to the downside. Really important. And we made this very clear that everybody right now is trying to FOMO into Bitcoin, right? Last quarter of a 4-year cycle, Bitcoin's going to move. We're going to hit 75, we're going to hit 85, we're going to hit 100, 150. Everybody is rotating into Bitcoin. They don't want to miss out on the pump. And naturally, that's going to have downward pressure in volume on these altcoins. So you can see the Bitcoin dominance is forming this W pattern, and obviously from a technical perspective, I've been calling out this W pattern for a long time. If that completes and it hits this line here, we could be seeing a break to the upside on the Bitcoin dominance. So we need to watch out for that, because that could lead to even more weakness in our altcoin, in our favorite altcoin. So we need to be prepared for that. So if you're going to be holding altcoins, You need to have high levels of conviction in them, and you need to be ready for some dips, and you need to be prepared to buy those dips. This is not financial advice, but in my opinion, I would be buying those dips. That's what I'd be doing, right? You've seen my buy zone on COTI. If it falls any substantial amount below that, if we head to 43, I'll be buying more COTI at these price points because of my beliefs in the fundamentals of the project. Now, if we look at Algorand, we're seeing a similar pattern, right? We headed all the way back up. We hit $2.55, and we've got rejected down and pretty much consolidated here. You can almost call this a giant bull flag, but this is like Inception because we got flags within flags right here. So if we zoom in, you can see how many flags we've had, and this is all in one really big flag. So what we've seen here is you've got this this continuation pattern. You can even argue this is a downwards continuation pattern. Okay, so this is a bearish move where we've entered into here, we've traded in here, we broke to the downside, you continue to trade in here, and then you carry on breaking to the downside. Probably not that extravagantly, but my next target to the downside on Algorand, if it cannot gain support here, but we'll come on to if we think it's gaining some support. Let's just go to the hourly actually and make it more clearer. So here, so we've broken out to the downside of this wedge, and the first level of support is this point here. Okay, but you can see we've kind of gone quite a bit below that point. It's not really held up as great support, right? It's fighting now. It's trying to keep that level, and that's what I said at the beginning of this video. We're trying to hold this key level of support, but if we break to the downside, you could be coming to see if you get some support at 168, but more realistically is the bottom of the wedge, okay? So 164 level, which comes from other support levels, but also the bottom of the wedge, 162. So 162 to 164 could be the short-term downside risk on Algorand, but on the plus side, if this can come back up and head into the wedge, then we could be trying to head higher back to the apex of this wedge really, which is at $1.94. And again, the RSI is there, and just look at the volume, guys. This is what I'm talking about in terms of the greater macro picture. And this is what keeps me bullish in these situations. I mean, a lot of people ask me, why am I still so bullish on some of these? The reason is because nothing fundamental is going on with any of these projects. I mean, if these projects were decoupled from Bitcoin, they would not be moving in this manner. They're all coupled to Bitcoin still, and that's why you're seeing this happen. Right? They're all forming the same patterns, the same volume profile, the same RSI profile, which makes you understand it's a macro thing. It's a macro thing, and therefore these projects are all becoming undervalued, right? So for me, as long as I have conviction in them, and they're coins which I'm willing to hold during a 60%, 70% retracement, I mean, that's the question you need to ask yourself. If you're holding Algorand now and you're going to absolutely panic when if it hits $1.35, then maybe you shouldn't be holding it. But for me, if that came down here, my conviction lies in, okay, I'm just getting cheaper Algorand. I'm happy. Eventually, this is going to move higher. And that brings me on to kind of the wider price targets I wanted to set from a fundamental perspective. Let's start with Algorand. And what I'm showing you on screen now is what would Algorand's price be if Algorand was hitting Cardano's current market cap. And I'm a big holder of ADA. ADA's a big part of my portfolio. I've been a long-term holder. I got in early. And, you know, I don't want to knock Cardano at all, but what's stopping Algorand from getting to that level? The use cases, the adoption, smart contracts, total value locked, everything is there for Algorand. What's stopping it from hitting ADA's current market cap, which is not even ADA's highest market cap? ADA's 2/3 of the market cap it once was when it was $3 plus. So for that will give Algorand a 6x off the back, straight to $11, right? And then you can do the same for Ethereum. You can do the same for Solana, just to give you an idea of how much Algorand can run. Because if Bitcoin is going to 3x from here, Ethereum could 3 to 5x, Solana could 5 to 7x, right? Because they all move at faster paces than each other. Then there's no reason Cardano can't get to $10, right? So if Cardano is going to 5x from here to get to $10, then surely Algorand could do a 6x. I'd be more hesitant towards more of a 10x. So that gives you an idea of where the more longer term profiles of these prices will sit as the market caps grow. And let's do the same for COTI as well. Because COTI, let's compare it to ADA, right? So we know they've got a tight relationship. And this is one of the reasons I'm bullish on COTI. And I'll be honest about it. COTI is a good project. But when it became a great project for me is its tie-up with Cardano. So I'm kind of rubbing off some of my Cardano love, which I've loved for a long, long time, onto COTI. Okay, and I'm being very transparent about that because the project in itself, if I was looking at it standalone, it wouldn't have the same conviction for me as it does with Charles Hodgkinson giving it that stamp of approval and me knowing so much about the Cardano ecosystem and project. Okay, so I just want to make that very clear. So therefore, everything I will look at with COTI will be tied in correlation to Cardano and my beliefs for Cardano. So if my beliefs fundamentally for Cardano change for whatever reason, my beliefs you can believe will change for COTI as well. Okay, that doesn't mean COTI can't mess up on its own and I can change my beliefs just for COTI, but they'll ride together as well. So Cardano, let's look at this way. Cardano is, like I said, sitting at $2.12 and it's at 2/3 of where it was at. So if COTI was just to reach Cardano's current market cap, and we believe Cardano is going to 5x from here, that would mean 165x, guys, on COTI's price and market cap. So that would give you a $78 COTI. That is phenomenal, guys. COTI is $500 million in market cap. So we're not trying to say that COTI needs to become Ethereum. We're not trying to say COTI needs to become Bitcoin level market cap, which I've seen other people argue for their favorite projects. We're just saying COTI needs to get to a sensible level, right? And even if it was therefore to get to half of COTI, or half of ADA's current market cap, so what ADA was when it was at $1, that is 100x from where we're at now, right, in terms of market cap. So that is a fundamental belief that I want to understand is if ADA is going to run up, and we know they're correlated, and ADA does a 5x, there's no reason COTI can't do a multiple of that move because it's that much of a smaller market cap, right? It's if it's at $500 million versus Cardano's 70 billion. So that is a massive move, guys. Okay, so we need to understand that if it's 100th of the size of an ADA, so when these things move, COTI will move at a multiple. But obviously, it's got more volatility to the downside as well, which is actually why I don't understand why people are frustrated. When you're seeing a coin with such small market cap, again, maybe people are inexperienced, but when you're seeing a coin with such stable such low market cap, we're talking 500 million, $500 million. Holding such support lines like this for a long period of time, you should be happy. There's nothing stopping this from really falling down and testing the bottom here at 8 cents, 9 cents, right? That would really test your conviction. And that's what can happen with these small market cap plays. So you really need to revisit if you're annoyed now in this, the only thing I can think of is you've bought at 66 cents or you're just super impatient, in which case maybe you need to revisit your conviction on COTI or ALGORAND if that's the other play you're worried about. Now, the other thing I wanted to do, because Cardano, whenever I do market cap comparisons, I want to compare to the projects we're looking at. I mean, I want to compare to something similar, right? So Cardano is similar, but it's different. Cardano is a layer 1 solution. COTI is a gateway provider. So I shared that market cap because they're going to move correlated. But what's another interesting thing to look at is, first, let's look at the COTI price. Is at 47 cents, right? And we can see we're at 400 million market cap. Let's just call that roughly $500 million. Okay. Now, what I wanted to do was I've pulled up PayPal. And PayPal is sitting at $317 billion market cap. Okay. That would imply for COTI to reach PayPal's current market cap, that would be a 634x. Right? Now, who would have thought PayPal would be as big as it is today when it first came out? I mean, let's look at this chart. Look how PayPal was trading for the longest, going back even in 2015 when we already knew they were good. I mean, this is just when they were public, $30, $40 for so long, and now it's sitting at $270. So we've got to have a more foresight in some of these projects, and when you take risks, you've got to take risks in a calculated way. Yes, there may be a chance that COTI's a flop and never actually achieves anything, right? But what if they did become the next PayPal, or they became the decentralized PayPal, or or even not even that? What if they became a fifth of PayPal? If they achieved PayPal's current market cap, that would give you a $297 COTI coin. Now you can put that how you want to put it. What if it gets to 100 billion? If it's 100 billion, it's about $100 COTI. If it makes 50 billion, then it's a $50 billion, right? So you can it's a $50 COTI. So either way, these are massive returns on a coin which is trading at 47 cents. But again, it's going to come with the risk, and you've got to have the patience. You've got to be willing to lose whatever you've invested in any of these coins. And that's why whenever I'm playing around with any of these coins, now when I say playing around, I mean small portions of my portfolio. If any of these projects got wiped out in my portfolio, it would not have a big impact on me at all. Right? Because you guys know I'm invested in all asset classes, but crypto is a percentage of my entire portfolio. And from within there, Bitcoin is a decent size, Ethereum is a decent size, Cardano is a decent size. Then you've got the likes of DOT, link. Again, check out my video if you're not aware. I'll link it up here somewhere in terms of how I structure my portfolio. You've got all of those top plays, and then smaller percentage of those are in my next generation projects, right? Your Phantoms, your Algorands, your COTIs, your Lunas, the ones I think can get to larger cap. So none of these are going to affect me if they're wiping out. And I'm guessing some of you who are really anxious right now by this bit of sideways retracement, which is perfectly healthy and still bullish at this point, I can only assume that either A, you've bought in really high at 66 cents, or your conviction is not there for this project and your friend has told you this is going to do a quick 100x and therefore you're waiting for that. So anybody who's invested in the long term in these projects, please keep in mind the potential they have in terms of similar market cap companies or cryptos, and then kind of sit back, invest what you're willing to lose, be smart with it. This is not financial advice, and let them ride, right? You've got to be ready to buy these dips. These are volatile assets. So there you go, guys. Rant over. There is the update on where I believe Algorand and COTI can go, both in the short term in terms of their technical targets, but also fundamentally from a broader perspective. I think sometimes it's really important to zoom out often, and I'm guilty of this. We look at these hourly charts, we're focused on short-term swings, but if you're invested from the longer perspective, then it's important to zoom out, look at the daily, look at the weekly charts, look at the trends, look at the projects being built, look at the total value lock, look at the adoption, look at the community on these networks, and then remind yourselves of why you have conviction. And if you don't have conviction, you shouldn't be in that play. Fundamentally, it's no one else's fault. It's not your friend's fault. It's not some YouTuber's fault who told you to buy a coin. It's always your own decision. It's always your own investment. It's your own research. It's your own conviction. You need to be reading the white paper. You need to be looking at the charts. You shouldn't just be looking at my lines on the charts. You should be drawing your own lines and understanding how those lines work. You should, it's down to you. So when the price dips, nobody's going to be there to hold your hand and say buy the dip or sell. You're going to make your own decision based on your emotions, and that's going to be backed up by the research you did or didn't do. So I hope that helped, guys. If you like my perspective of technical and fundamental analysis with clearly some psychological lessons as well, then please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.